Good morning and welcome to Daily Zohar. So today we start off the new Parsha, which is Parshat Tzav, which continues on with the discussion of the Korbanot. And specifically we go into the Korban called the Corban Ola, the Korban which is completely consumed on the altar. So basically there's many types of sacrifices, but generally speaking there's three types of sacrifices for our purposes. The first level of sacrifices is for a sin, a mistake that somebody makes. The second level of a sacrifice is a person wants to give a certain level of a donation to the temple as a thanksgiving, and he wants everybody to partake in it. That's called the shlamim. And then the highest level is called the Corban Ola. And the Ola is different than the other Korbanot in the sense that it is not enjoyed by anybody except for the mizbeach, except for the altar, and it completely becomes consumed. And therefore it's called Olah from the word Olah, which means to ascend. It completely ascends up on high. So the Zohar over here gives us an explanation, gives us a deeper insight into this mystery of this particular korban called the Corban Ola. And just as a prelude, the Zohar tells us that when it says Zot Torat HaOlah, that this is the Torah of the Olah, explains that Zot refers to the Midah of Malchus, Torah refers to Zer Anpin, and if we're familiar with these concepts, that the Malchut is the lowest one of the Sfirot, and Zer Anpin are the 6 Sfirot which are termed as the masculine sfirot, and when these two levels of the malchut, which is the lowest one of the sfirot, which also embodies the feminine aspect, is united with the masculine aspect of the sfirot, so then we have a complete unit over there. But he goes deeper than that this complete unit actually ascends, actually connects to the level of what we call bina, which is the originator, which is really the beginning of all of the sfirot, because it starts off in bina. Bina is understanding. Bina is the one of the intellectual faculties, which actually gives birth to the emotional faculties in the sfirot of the Zer Anpin and the Malchut. So the Zohar gives us a very interesting imagery over here, of a way of looking at it, in a way of spirit, in a way of wind, the way he terms it. I'm going to read inside. Vau kimna, and we find the Olah Kodesh Kodashim, that the Olah is termed as Holy of Holies, whereas the other levels of the Korban are not called Holy of Holies. They're called Holy, and they're called Kodashim, Kalim, different types of levels. But the Olah is called Kodesh Kodashim Beraza de Ruach Ilah, because it is united with the highest form of spirit. Begin ditlat ruchin kishiran kachada, because there are 3 levels of spirit that are united one with the other. Ruach Tata, the lower spirit, the Ikre Ruach HaKodesh, which is called the spirit of holiness. Ruach Dilegav Ben Tzait, and then there is the middle spirit, the Iker Ruach Chochma Vina, which is called the spirit of wisdom and of understanding. And this refers to these 2 spirits or winds, refers to the wind ascending from below to above, which is the wind of Malchus. And then the wind of Zaz Ruach Chochma Bina, which is affected by the Chochma Bina, and V'chen Ruach Tata, Aval Hai Ruach Denafik Migo Shofar, Klilan be'esho maya. But then there's a higher spirit, there's a higher wind, which is referred to as the wind of the shofar. And that refers to the level of bina, which is really the precursor, which is the originator of the other of Zer Anpin. And it is referred to Ruach Ilah De'iu Satim B'chashayim. It's referred to the wind and the spirit of the shofar. So we know that the blowing of the shofar isn't a simple matter at all. And we do that, of course, on Rosh Hashanah and other times, the whole month of Elul. And the idea of the blowing of the shofar actually refers to a level of a revelation of Bina. And that's why actually the Torah tells us in Parshat Behar that on the 50th year, the Jubilee year, where all slaves go out free and the land goes back to its original state, to its original owners, it says over there that the shofar is blasted, the shofar is heard. And the idea behind that is that the shofar refers to the Jubilee, refers to a place of freedom. And the idea of the shofar, the sound of the shofar, isn't a sound that you could actually put your finger on and understand and feel so much, but it comes from a level which is blasted from way up above what the intelligence and what one can appreciate on perhaps an experiential level. So therefore, the Zohar tells us when these three spirits unite one with the other, so you've got the lower spirit, and it's kind of like, the way I imagine it is like, it's kind of like mist, which comes from below to above, and it's that lower mist of Malchut where the corporeal now ascends, and then there's the entire horizon, which is above, right? And that refers to the Zer Anpin. And then there's what is above the revealed universe, revealed what we know and what we see and what we feel. There is that there's the spirit of Bina, which is there. The Vei Kaimin Kol Ruchin Kadishim, that from the spirit of Bina is where all holy spirits come from. B'chol Anpin hearing. Uvigin Kach Ahadrat Olah Ruach Mamash. So therefore, the Olah is called an actual. It's called a spirit, because it's united with the ultimate spirit, which is the spirit of holiness, which ascends up above. And therefore, the Zohar tells us that this, what is affected by this particular korban, this particular sacrifice, is that there is an elevation of the world, a complete elevation of the world. And from there, the holiness is sustained by this korban. The holiness is being sustained. Why? Because from the animal, the Zohar explains that the animal has to do with the side of klipot, with the other side. And when it completely ascends up on the mizbech, on the altar, so then what happens is liskasha rucha achar deiu go misavu, and then the impure spirit now becomes elevated and now becomes extracted. All the negativity and what is called the sparks of holiness that are in what is referred to as the klipot, which is referred to the other side, and it's in the husks, it's in the shell, and it is, so to speak, it is in captivity. By bringing this very korban, what occurs is that there's an elevation of all of those sparks of holiness, and they become freed, and therefore, uvigin kach Olah kodesh kodashim, and therefore the Olah is referred to as the Holy of Holies. She'ar korbani leme'avad shalama be'alma. The other korbanot, the Zohar continues, make peace in the world, and there's a certain level of making peace and balancing out the good with negativity, and the negativity sort of has a certain say. The other side has a certain connection to these. Kulu mikama sitrin, and they enjoy these sacrifices. So mari bedinin lit avarit ulit nahara megoy reuta lit basama ikun kodashim kame, and therefore they're called simple holies. Begin de lo mitatir le'ela, because they are not mitatir, they're not actually crowned up above, they're not connected up above. Le'ela bekodesh hakodashim, up in the Holy of Holies. Valda inun kodashim kalim unichisu de lehon bechol atar kema de ukmua, and therefore one is allowed to shech them, one is allowed to slaughter these particular sacrifices in every part of what is called the azara, what is called the hall of the temple where one can do the shechita. But the kodashim kalim are specifically shechted, they're specifically slaughtered in a certain place, which is actually the northern part of the Azara, which refers to the north, refers to the side of negativity, because the north, it says that's where negativity comes from. And that from that very place is the union of all three levels of Malchut, Za, and Bina, and therefore there's a complete elevation of the world, and there is therefore a balancing out and a drawing down of holiness in its fullest sense within the world. So what we could extract from this, by just reading these concepts in the Torah, and when we study them in their deeper significance in the Zohar, what we actually gain from that is that there is that reenactment of these sacrifices. Although nowadays we can't bring the sacrifices on a physical level, but by actually studying what the sacrifices do, the Talmud tells us, it's as if we actually perform the sacrifices themselves. So by studying them and meditating on these concepts, so then that causes also within us the level of Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies within us, and these three spirits to become united and to draw down only blessings and only goodness for us and for the entire world. So wishing everybody a wonderful day and a blessed day, and many blessings from Tzfat.